Welcome back, Cool Kid here. Promised you all we'd be back pretty quick for once. Huge thank you to everyone who left suggestions in the Discord and in the comments on the last video. Spoiler warning like always, and without further ado, let's rock. Operatives and relays can often be seen doing certain Warframe animations as well as boss idols, which I'll do a quick lightning round of now. Opening a Netra cell will insta-kill the Whisper if he's active. Terry can spawn during the day if you load right during the day-night transition, which causes him to get stuck wandering the same straight line back and forth. He can be freed from this loop by breaking a Synovia. Incarnants can also be charged by shooting Synovias, though only if they're unshielded. It's possible to use breeding to get every mutagen and antigen on a Vulpaphyla, which will cause it to have 5 starting polarities and a lot of damage resistances. If you're in your Operator when the Archon does its pounce animation at the end of its first fight, it'll attack the Operator or Drifter instead of the Warframe. Wukong's Celestial Twin and Equinox's Duality will only heavy attack an enemy if they're open to a finisher. Spectres can also spam ground finishers way more than a normal player can, as typically, players can't get in more than one. Nucor's Microwave Effect, which enlarges body parts, has a lot of goofy effects on certain enemies, like coil drives and turrets. The Art Gun Deployer is not ready pop-up can inherit other splashes, which honestly goes hard as hell, like, I don't know, it just does. Hystrix can have its reload cancelled by swapping elements, which plays one of 2 different animations. These look reused from somewhere, but I honestly can't quite tell where from, so let me know if you can figure it out. Corvex reuses a few animations from Zaku, namely Gaze for his 4, and the Vast on Time for his 3. Funny thing is, because he reuses this animation for his 3, he can also do the Zaku boosting tech from prior episodes by cancelling a slam with his 3. Heavy attacking or parrying a Liminis will always insta-kill them. Arcane Arachne can increase the damage of several abilities that aren't Exalteds, which is multiplicative to ability strength. These include Shuriken, Fireball, Radial Javelin, Spectral Scream, Desolate Hands, Freeze, Dread Mirror's Blood Ball, and Seeking Talon's contact damage, Redline's Bolts, Warding Halo's proximity damage, Smite's Orbs, Nullstar and Antimatter Drop, Reach Surge's Sparks, Flechette Orb, Final Stand, and projectiles from Enthrall's Flame Pillars. Arcane Avenger can proc during Hysteria and absorb despite the player being invincible. Corrupt animals in Duviri change color based on the global spiral rotation, not the spiral you're actually currently in. Chroma's energy color doesn't affect his starting element in Duviri. Mars' skybox contains a really close Grineer asteroid base, which I didn't notice for years. Dying in Arcwing makes the Arcwing adopt your frame's colors. The Temporal Acceleration Decree doesn't trigger if you quickfire Quiver with Artemis Bow. Lloyd and Otak can have their health regen jump-started with an amp. Prophet Taker's current shield element can also be rolled over if you shoot it with an amp, though there is a grace period after a swap where it can't be swapped again. Umbra doesn't use the Tenno Flesh and Tenno Shield health types, but instead uses Flesh, Shield, and Ferrite armor. The Whisper in the labs actually does use Tenno Flesh though. Maggots cannot latch to the player if silenced, which will cause them to just die after a time. Mutalist Ospreys also can't drop carried crawlers if silenced. Shooting a lifted enemy will cause them to drop out of the lifted state instantly. Corvex's pillars are cast at the camera's location, not the location of Corvex himself. I'm gonna be honest, I stole this one from Trib's Twitter. Alchemy Crucibles imbue your weapon with their mixed secondary element during the Distressed Pipe phase. The Whisper can drop amphors, which I guess isn't really that weird or anything, I just find it strangely really funny watching him turn into a bottle of bug juice. The special Eximus types unique to Alchemy can trigger the Eximus Insta-Res in Last Gasp. The enemy cap and the Simulacrum can be broken using boilers, which is fun now that they removed the Tomb Guardians. Okay, editing Cool Kid here. Something I discovered while messing with this is that if you ally the boiler with Enthrall or something like that, and then you kill it, it spawns enemies that count as allies, which means they don't get killed by the kill enemies trigger and don't count towards the enemy cap. And you can just keep doing this. I don't think this is intentional. If you get 60 eyes instead of 30 on Steel Path of Furbo, you get to fight a secret boss known as the Fragmented One. This boss has the attacks of all other 3 fragmented bosses, enables Archon Hunt modifiers like no self-revives, and has a metric ton of damage attenuation. He also has a debuff called Cascading Fragmentation that makes you take progressively more damage over time until he's killed. Beating him drops a unique ship cosmetic called the Manus Sumdali, but otherwise there's no real reason to do him more than once. Kexots and Duviri can actually sleep. The desaturation effect in Duviri progressively clears as you work through bounty stages, being fully gone by the time you fight the Aura Worm. Direct kills from Bladestorm can trigger finisher decrees, like how it works for Arcanes. Certain bosses can be enthralled or mind-controlled, such as Vor, Corrupted Vor, Lek Krill, and even the rogue Necromechs in the labs. Let me know if you guys have any others, I think this one's kinda fun. Volt Speed interrupts ground slams when cast. Speed, Switch Teleport, and Wormhole all can be used to speed up drones on the planes, as well as Lloyd and Otak and Isolation Vaults. In this Deimos Isolation Vault tile, you can shoot reactive crystals around the room in order to build a Void Portal, which contains a broken Necromech and a few crates. I'll show the full puzzle now. Augment mods still work in Grendel missions, despite mods otherwise being disabled. Damage reduction, like on Baruch's Desolate Hands, reduces the damage you take from the Frame Curse key glyph. Sleeping Velocipods will damage and knock you down if you try to approach them from below. In the squad sidebar, normal Warframes have a blue outline, and Prime Warframes have a gold outline. Umbra uniquely has a black outline, however, and in Duviri, the Stalker gets a unique red one. This Earth stream tile in general is really obscure these days, as I seemingly never encounter it anymore, but what I really want to show is just writing on the spinning barrel because the brain worms tell me it's fucking hilarious. Syndicate operatives can follow you into the Granum Void. Kalervo's phase transition cutscene can be skipped if you use Transference Surge during it, which can let you kill him before he's even actionable. Trauma Clamps in Duviri can make progress towards certain Nightwave challenges that require specific elements, and they can also contribute to stacks for weapon arcanes that require said elements. Frost Prime and Nyx Prime uniquely have the word Prime added to their passive descriptions. Certain Inaros Prime details, such as his arm blades, still persist when using his regular skin on the Prime frame. Titania can fit through the gap in a lot of doors on the labs, allowing you to skip certain puzzles that would require you to open them other ways. The electric ball from Synergized Prospectus can also bounce off of players. You can ping the Guiding Hand Spirit as an ally in Duviri. Due to cultural taboos in China surrounding skulls, Lloyd and the Necromechs have unique face coverings in that version of the game. Honestly, I think these are really cool, and I kinda wish we had them as an optional cosmetic. The Strun's reload procs the Duelist Advantage decree for each shell loaded, and the damage actually stacks up to pretty high amounts. I would assume this works on Felarks and regular Corinth too, but I'm not lucky enough to get them. Oberon can give excavators armor with Iron Renewal. Hijack objectives drain health from Marilena instead of draining Yoreli's shields. Deflected shots from Ice Ward and Shatter Shield can petrify enemies if the Gorgon is equipped and using Metamorphic Magazine. It doesn't even have to be the held weapon, as it also works while holstered. You can use Asher Nova to teleport to the end of an Orokin puzzle room, which doesn't stop the puzzle, meaning you can get locked inside. Rogue Void Rigs get Bone Widow's legs on their ragdoll when they die, which is just... huh? The orbital cannon in the Corpus ship tile set will insta-kill you if it fires while you're in it, vaporizing your dumbass instantly. Seeking Talons and Breach Surge can headshot, which triggers headshot decrees and buffs in Duviri. If you disarm Jen Dro or Darimzon with the Halakar, you can actually pick up their Dual Sestra and Sonicor, and picking up either of them or your old weapon will list it as rank 0. Swapping loadout in the Simulacrum will also still leave your old secondary on the floor. The Equilibrium mod shows the old health and energy orb models. Buzzkill and Sharpshooter have white bars on their mod pictures, though only Buzzkills are visible in-game. Several mods strangely do not contain parallax mapping, which normally gives mods their 3D effect. I'll put a paste bin with the full list in the description. Pretty much all enemies will focus you if you have Guardian Derision, including stuff like Acolytes, overguarded enemies, and Demolists, though it has to be refreshed by spam blocking if you don't want the Demolist wandering off. Each time you block, enemies will also be forced to rotate to face you, which is both funny and can do practical stuff like hold thumpers in place. Adaptation mistakenly shows void damage as Tau damage, but Caliban's adaptive armor passive uses the correct icon. Just as a quick thing as well, Mathila doesn't actually deal Tau damage. Just off the cuff, that was in, I think, Volume 10. No, it's actually void damage. If you get Caliban, you can see it's just displayed wrong, so my bad. Ull shows up as a blank slot in stab orders for Requiems if you didn't actually use it in a given attempt. The Incarnins for Latron Wraith and Stun Wraith have no icons in the arsenal, instead just using the normal icons. Attachments on relay statues will always copy your Warframe's colors, even if that's not normally possible. The Railjack normally tries to auto-orient straight up, but if you get perfectly upside down, it'll stay that way, which is kinda disorienting. Marilena lets your rally stand in some areas other frames can't, as the teleport volume is either inside a liquid, out of bounds, or just otherwise too low to be touched by your rally herself. Chipper's model freaks out if you hand him the Grimoire. As if it wasn't messed up enough. Despite technically being the same weapons, the Viper and Twin Viper have wildly different materials and color channels, though the Wraiths don't have this disparity. Swapping from a wrist weapon to a regular pistol in the arsenal causes the pistol to tweak out for a second. Legendary ranks have a unique border on the top of their plaque decoration and profile icon. Deconstructor's projectiles still use placeholder textures. Stalker's death threat about the Jordas Golem uses the boss's old name, the J3 Golem. The Blackout Pulse ability in Railjack can trigger melee influence. Nautilus's skin section is labeled as body instead of skin. You can customize ungilded MOAs with a look link override, but only the bracket gets colored. Zenistar's disc can be given crit by Wrathful Advance after it's already been deployed, which can give it permanent crit buff uptime. Enemies can still be picked up by funnel clouds if they're ragdolled, which can be done very easily with Airburst. Tornadoes can also pick up Granum Crowns, which reveals that the Treasurer doesn't actually drop the crowns outright, but drops a container that immediately breaks and drops the crown. Marilena's tail and tendrils have their cloth physics occasionally inverted, like when going up elevators. Several other cloths do this too, but I'm honestly too lazy to find them all, so just correct me in the comments and they'll be in the next one probably. I don't know, I'm fucking recording this at 7 AM. I haven't slept yet. I'm just cutting corners. I'm just gonna be 100 with you on that. Ureli can't trigger Void Pressure Plates on Marilena normally, but she can if she crouches. If you have the Codex scanner on a hotkey, you can pull it up as your operator or drifter by pressing it while holding down right mouse button in the orbiter. Or left trigger, I guess. Why did I write this way? If you start an airborne grenade throw with call and then touch the ground, you'll cancel it but still consume the grenade. Hovering over the Parazon highlights the Warframe's color channel, not the Parazon itself. Alright, that's a wrap. Hope you guys appreciate me not being gone for 4 months this time. Thank you so much for watching and making it this far. Like, sub, comment, join the Discord, check out the streams, all that stuff. I don't really feel like doing the whole diatribe, only like 20% of you at best are still here right now. You know what if I just ended the video abruptly? Wouldn't that be funny? You guys think the idiots are gone? Good. I need this to be between just us intellectuals. I have a brief but toothsome conundrum for you all to ponder. Why is the sun so damn close to Europa?